Hi everyone, welcome to Ecommerce Success by Ad360, the channel that makes business owners happy, productive and successful. Today I'm going to review a post on Reddit. The writer asks if they should continue their ad, which is not profitable at the moment. So we're going to look through the figures that they share, if there's a big problem, not a big problem, how to evaluate that, and how a marketing professional would typically think of this and what ways of improving advertising you have at your disposal. Before we do that, if you enjoy these videos, please smash the like button, comment below. If you have an advertising campaign you want me to review, feel free to share your stats, share your account. I'd be super happy to give you some help. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel and click on the alert button so that you get notified whenever I release a new video. This video is brought to you by Ad360. Ad360 is the easiest app to manage all your ads in one place in the Shopify environment. You can run Google ads, Facebook ads, and ads all over the web on millions of independent websites and mobile apps, all from one place in Shopify. It's also super easy to get started with retargeting. And so if you're in the same situation as the post on Reddit and you're not doing retargeting, you should definitely watch yesterday's video where we talked about what is retargeting and why you must do it and how you get up to 1300% return on investment with retargeting. So you should definitely watch this. Okay, let's jump right into it. So today we're looking at the PPC subreddit. So PPC stands for pay-per-click, and it's a common term to talk about generic Google ads, Facebook ads, advertising campaign, which aim at bringing traffic to your website. Okay, so the person asks, should I continue this shopping campaign? So it's a Google shopping campaign. So Google ads include many different forms of ads. So search engine ads, so the sponsored results on the top of Google when you make a search, but also YouTube ads. So if you've seen an ad before this video, it's a YouTube ad, and other forms of ads, including shopping ads, which are the sponsored results in the Google shopping product. So if you type shoe and you see some products, some of them are organic results coming from e-commerce websites. Some of them are sponsored using shopping ads. Okay. So they have a single product. They started ads 4 days ago and sharing your stats. So thanks for sharing the stats. So the first thing I notice is I start with the end. The ad spend is £60. So that's quite a low amount to draw any conclusions. Okay. So the first thing I should say is don't stop right away, because usually you want to spend a few $100s or pounds before you see any conclusive results. Even a few hundred is quite low, but I can understand as a new business, if you're just getting started, this may be a huge investment. But you have to consider that advertising is a science and an art, and it's something that takes work and refinement to be profitable. It's not like flipping a button and you get amazing results right away. If that happened for you, you're lucky, or you have an amazing product, or you did everything right from the first time. But usually it takes some time, optimization, refinement before you get to a profitable ad. So 4 days and £60 is definitely not enough. Okay. So I'm already half answering the question. So, and don't worry, we're going to go through all the figures, but so far they say the ad has not been profitable. So I would say that most ads start like that. Should I continue with this? Yes, you should. If so, for how long? Okay, so there's no generic answer. It depends a lot on your business, your budget, what's your goal, and what's, I can't tell a lot without knowing what the product is about, what the ad, portrays, what kind of product, which kind of audience is targeted. So I won't be able to give too much of a personalized response for all these points. But as a general rule of thumb, I would say if you get started with advertising, you should budget a few hundred pounds or dollars, and you should advertise for at least 2 weeks up to a month. And for bigger brands, sometimes we even say like you have to advertise for several months before you really make a conclusion. Now that doesn't mean you have to wait and see, right? It's not just pouring money out the window and just waiting for results to magically appear, right? So if I'm saying continue for a few weeks or a few months, that includes making daily adjustments, tweaks, improvements, optimization, both on the ad itself, the ad setup, meaning the targeting, and all the campaign aspects, and the website. And so we're going to try and discuss some of these elements. Okay, so £60. So the pound for if you're viewing for another from the US or another country. So the British pound, I think £1 is about 1.3 US dollars, right? So and if you know the conversion rate to US dollar, then you can convert back in your own currency. So that's something closer to like $90, something like that. Okay, 6,400 impressions. Now, what I noticed right away is that's quite a low number of impressions for that budget. That's almost £10, more like 9.4 something, but almost £10 CPM. So CPM is the cost per 1,000 impression. I won't go into details today, but if you want me to make a video on what is CPM, CPC, how to calculate a CTR, what's the difference between an impression, a viewable impression, a view, put a comment in the description below and I'd be happy to make a detailed video about these acronyms and what they stand for and how we calculate them. So you're paying almost £10 per for CPM. That's super high, I think. Now, of course, everything that I'm saying is going to be generic because I would need to see what's your product, what's your business, how you're advertising to give you a more specific answer. But I would say that's definitely a very high price. Now we don't know if that's video. Is it like a standard display shopping ad campaign? Is there like animated banners or video involved? Like I'm not sure, but that seems like a super high price. Now sometimes it's okay to pay a high CPM price if you have a very precise, a very detailed, fine-grained targeting. So you're showing this ad to a very specific audience, which is a high-value audience, and you know they're going to like your product, they're going to enjoy it, and so it can be worth it to pay a high price. Here you haven't mentioned anything about your business or product, so it's difficult to make assumptions, and you haven't mentioned anything about the targeting. So you only shared the stats, but the most important aspect of an ad is what you're showing. So the ad itself, the creative, the text, product, description, and the targeting. So who you're showing your ad to, right? So, but I would say that seems pretty high, right? So that's for sure an area for improvement. Now, out of these impressions, you got 88 clicks. So now that's pretty good, I think. You have a 1.3% approximately a click-through rate. So click-through rate is the number of clicks divided by the number of impressions. That's pretty high. Now again, depending on the product, the industry, the type of ad you're doing, CTRs, so click-through rates could be vastly different. If you're doing a display ads on the web in a website, it's not infrequent to have 0.1% click-through rates, so 10 times worse, and that could still be a good ad. Now on Google search, you could go up to 2, 3, 4, 5% or more click-through rate if you have a very adequate solution to the problem the person is searching for with intent to purchase. That's not uncommon either. So without knowing any more about your ad and your market, it's difficult to make a judgment, but I'd say it's pretty good. Okay, I think more than 1% CTR, let's say it's good, or at least the main problem is not going to come from here. And so the average CPC of 70 cents of a pound, I'd say this is goodish. I'd say average plus. Okay, so that's almost, I think it's a bit more than 90 cents of a dollar. So a bit less than $1, it's okay. I think if you're paying more than $1 or £1 per CPC, it needs to be justified. But again, I've seen ad campaign being successful and profitable with CPCs of $2, $3, $4, but you need to have a very high conversion rate on your website and a very high product value for this to be worth it. Now, without knowing any more about this, it's difficult to judge if this is good or not, but let's say it's average plus. So I think you can improve your CPC, and that's going to come mostly from reducing the CPM, I believe. Okay, then you have 4 ATC, so add to carts. So I think 4 out of 88 clicks, that's pretty good. That's actually very good, I think. But again, depending on the product and how targeted your audience is. So if you're showing this to a general public, that's very good. If you're showing the ad only to a very specific curated audience with a very detailed targeting, it might not be that good. So it, again, depends on the context. But let's take these figures on a rule of thumb basis, right? I think 4 out of 88, that's 4.5% ish. That's pretty good. Then you have a 1 conversion out of 4 add to carts. So I think that's, I would have thought this is pretty low, but I read yesterday some figures on abandoned carts, and they say 75% abandoned cart is the industry average. So you're exactly on average. So now this is a very broad figure because in e-commerce you have many different verticals, many different types of products. So depending on your very product niche, you could be above or below average, but overall for e-commerce, you're average. So this seems low. For most people that don't know about e-commerce, this seems quite low, but 20% conversion rate out of carts, add to cart is actually pretty common. And if I look at the conversion rate as a number of conversion out of all clicks, that's also pretty good. You're above 1%. So that's actually quite good as well. Now, some websites have a 2-3% conversion rate. That's very good. I've also seen websites with less than 1% succeed. So again, depends a lot on the business you're in, but more than 1% is good. So the problem is not coming from here. Also, if you want me to make a video on conversion rates, how we calculate conversion rates, and also the difference between a click and a visit, sometimes you have discrepancies between the click figures and the number of actual visit sessions measured in analytics, I can make a dedicated video to explain that. Okay, so now the bottom line is still that you're losing money because you paid 60 pounds and you only got 25. And I imagine, so without knowing anything about your margin rate, we can't really know how bad it is, but for sure you're losing money. And if your margin rate is, let's say 25%, that means you're like netting £6 on this sale. You need your ad to work 10 times better for this to be worth it. That sounds quite bad, but hear me out. You're actually in a pretty good place. It may not feel that way because you're not getting that much money back from your £60 spend, but you're actually in a much better position than many businesses that start advertising. I've talked to many business owners recently who spend several $100s in advertising. One of them shared on Reddit the other day, they spent $500 in advertising and they got 0 sales. That's much more painful, right? Many people actually, when they first start advertising, they have to wait a lot longer until they make their first sale. So if you got your first sale after only spending £60, that's actually very good. It might not feel that way because it's not profitable, but it's very good. It actually means that you have potential. The worst thing is you spend $100, $200, you still have 0 sales. You don't know if you're far from getting a sale or not. You don't know if maybe your website is broken, maybe nobody's interested in your product, there's no market. Getting a sale is hugely important. That means that your website is working, the checkout process is working well in all environments, not just for you, but in many different browsers, devices, connection speed. So it's actually a good validation to get that first external sale from someone you don't know. So it's a friend or family. That's very good. There is demand for this product. There is a market. And your conversion rates are not absurd. And they're actually better than average, I think, on your website. So your website is functioning correctly. Now you simply need to improve your ad to get to a very profitable business. And you might think that improving the results by 10x is impossible or very difficult. I think it's actually very doable. And this video is already getting quite long, so I'm not going to detail that today, but I'm going to give you a few ideas, okay? First, I think you can make significant improvements on the number of impressions. So you can get a much lower CPM. That could be by putting a max bid, that could be by doing targeting more precisely people or more broadly people. Sometimes it's okay to pay a bit less, even if they click less frequently. If you pay 5 times less, but they click 2 times less frequently, you still have a positive 2.5x result at the end, right? So I'm sure you can reduce CPM. Probably you can still increase the click-through rate, and that can be by trying out different things. So it sounds like from what you're presenting that you only have like one ad or one campaign. Even if you have one product, there should be ways to test out different things. So test different audiences that you target, test different pictures for your product, test different ways of running your campaign, test different landing pages on your website. So you always want to be testing, iterating, improving the weakest link in the chain. And if you do that on each step, you're quickly going to see massive improvements. So improve the click-through rate. Your conversion rate is actually not bad, so there might not be any problem, but you can always do better, especially if that's the first time you're doing advertising. You're going to notice a lot of things. Use analytics, use other tools, use a heat maps tool to see are people actually seeing the add to cart button. Can we add a buy it now button or something else to improve conversion? Can we add more call to actions on the homepage or the landing page to increase the conversion rate? Can we make the checkout process simpler, faster, more streamlined to lose less people in that process? You have a lot of things that you can do. Also, watch yesterday's video on retargeting, because I explained how with retargeting you can get up to 1,300% return on investment with your retargeting campaigns. And a lot of that comes from getting back some of these abandoned carts. So if you manage to get 1 or 2 or 3 sales more of these 4 abandoned to carts, that's already you already got more in revenue than in ad spend if you get 3 or 4 sales out of these 4 people. And retargeting also helps you get back some of these people that went to your website but left. Sometimes it's not that they don't like your product or don't want to buy from you, it's that they need a bit more convincing. Sometimes it's they left your website because they had something else to do, they got a call, work notification, they had to take care of something else, they had to take their kid at school, and they just simply forgot to come back to your website. They close the window, they don't even remember what's the name of the website, they're not finding you again. And that could be after they've seen the product and they enjoyed it. So retargeting helps you win back these people to your website. So if you improve gradually all these elements on your ad, improve targeting, try out a few different things, start retargeting. If you improve things on your website, and I'll make also a separate dedicated video on that, just a few hints, but usually, people only think of, okay, how do I make the ad work better? But you can also improve your outcome by changing what's going on the website and the cart, right? So if you have the same conversion rate, which is quite good, but the average value is twice higher, you have upsells, you have bundled offers, that customer, you have referral program in place, and they bring in more customers. If you have a newsletter and you establish a relationship, that sale is not necessarily the end of the relationship. It could be the beginning of the relationship. And so you should treat that as a lead and as a new, person in your relationship. And over the time of the relationship, you're going to convert them multiple times, and you can increase the lifetime value. And so maybe this ad is already quite profitable over the long run, depending on your business, your product. I know some businesses that are willing to have an initial sale to ad price at, like 1 to 5, 1 to 6, 1 to 10. And sometimes that's still a profitable ad in the long term. Now that depends entirely on your business. And I'm sure that with a few tweaks, a few optimization by introducing retargeting, you can already do better at right away from the initial sale, which is what you want, I guess. So if you're interested in knowing more, if you want me to go through your detailed ad account and give you more specific and personalized advice, feel free to contact me. I've put in the description below a link to book a demo. And since we just released our app at 360, to celebrate that and to thank our early users, we're offering any new person that installs the app a free audit and a free consulting of all their operations. So we would go through your website, see everything that can be improved. We would go through your advertising strategy, your marketing strategy, your advertising setup in your accounts. We would help you get started with retargeting. And with all of that, I'm sure you can do a lot better. So feel free to reach out, book a call with me. I'd be super happy to help you. Or if someone else is watching this video, they want me to go through the ads with them, I'd be super happy to do that. I look forward to speaking with you and to helping you be more successful. Thank you. Bye.